Hi everybody, it's Karen coming to you from my craft room in Little Britain. Today we're going to make a really cute Modge Podge frame. I know that a lot of you are looking for things to do, and if you have an old frame around your house that you're not using anymore, or you want to spruce things up, or I actually used canvas, so I'll show you how to do that. But this is one that I made, and you can use any colors you like, get very creative. Here I have, like, I can use it to hold jewelry, little clips here to, you can hold pictures on it. This would also be really cute on a dorm room door. People could leave you notes, and in a bedroom, also super cute, like with your earrings. I'm actually going to do multiple of these and put 6 of them together to create more of a window pane look. So that's today's project, so join me in some fun. The items you will need from around your home is either an old picture frame, any size. Like I said, mine are a bit bigger because I wanted more of a whole wall thing, but you could do small ones for all around the house. I'm going to use canvas, stretched canvas on wood, just from the dollar store. I have lots of bits of scrap paper, and I do have a whole shelf of full sheets. I did not use a full sheet. I just went to my little scraps to use those today. Also, I have little bits of material. I didn't want my Modge Podging to be all flat, so I wanted to use some material or different textures. So I just have little bits of, like, this is probably the biggest piece of material I have. I gave it all to a friend who is sewing, so she's making masks and little caps for herself and friends at the hospital in Lindsay. So that's fantastic that my material is getting used in buttons for that. So we're just going to use the little bits that are left over here. I also, for Modge Podging, have discovered napkins, and they are fantastic to Modge Podge with. I do advise that if you do not have white canvas, that whatever you're using for your background, you paint it a solid color. Like for this, for instance, maybe you'll just use the cardboard that's on the back, or maybe you have a frame with nothing. You can use foam board. Check out your recycle bin. You might have a cereal box in there that you can use. And you know, a little secret that if you dig really deep into the bottom of the recycle bin, you can probably find a very solid piece of cardboard. It's just a juice box, an extra large juice box, but the cardboard is nice and thick, solid for this project, many other projects, and that way you don't need to tip your recycle collector on the holidays. So you can also use that. So when you're using the napkins, though, like I said, you do want to make sure your surface is one color, so it because they're very thin and you will see the color underneath. For napkins, when you go to use them, this one's really cute. It's got the sparkly on the one and just the pink on the other. You need to look at how many plies they are. If they're 2-ply or 3-ply, we need to pull those plies off the back. Sometimes it's hard to start. This one actually started on its own. So we're pulling that ply off. I really don't care if I rip the napkin because I'm going to be cutting it up or whatever. The back piece, this is like gold. Don't throw this out. People are buying toilet paper like crazy. This would be good in an emergency situation. So hang on to the white parts. Okay, so then if this was a 3-ply, I would have 2 of those to take off. So then we have our napkins also. So we're also going to need some paintbrushes, some Modge Podge. If you don't have Modge Podge, you can get it at the dollar store, just so you know, small containers. But if you don't have any laying around the house right now, check out your glue situation. If you have white glue, just water it down a little bit so it's not so thick. For my project, and you don't need to do this, I'm using chicken wire. I've always wanted to do something with chicken wire. I thought this was really cute. Like I said, we can clip a lot of things onto it and change up our frame to anything all the time. I was able to get a roll of chicken wire at the dollar store. And then I found out that there's a big roll of it in my garage. So I gotta check out my garage more because my husband, I believe, hides some really good stuff in there that I can use. So I'm also going to need an X-Acto knife. I use a ruler because my hands can go a little bit crazy with the X-Acto and I don't want to cut myself. And some glue. I'm going to use hot glue and probably a little bit of wood glue for this too, just to hold it up long term. So, and paint, of course. I'm also using a small staple gun and just some snips for my chicken wire. So let's get started. I'm going to start with this frame, and what you're going to do is you're going to take your X-Acto knife and your ruler and just cut on the outside part of the staples like that, and there. Doesn't need to be perfect. It's more so because I said that my knife will go further than I want it to. I've learned from your mistakes, right? So there we go. Sometimes you'll have to cut a little extra to get around those corner staples. And we're going to peel back the canvas off, and then part around the staples, I'm just peeling that off there, and I'm leaving the staples on. So there we go. So now I have my piece of canvas and I have my frame. So before I get too far, I'm going to lay my canvas down flat, and because the canvas was going over the frame, we're going to actually work on the inside of the frame so it's less space. So I'm actually going to take my frame and lay it flat on my canvas and just trace out the inside like that. So I have a square like that. So when we're working with our Modge Podge, we want to make sure that we get to just a little bit past that, but definitely inside it, no white spaces inside. Just going to move my canvas to the side. I'm going to grab my, I'm doing my frames in white, so I'm going to do some white paint on my frame. This is where you can get really creative. Do your frames in different colors. If you're doing multiple, you could do them in all different colors. I'm choosing to do mine all in white. I'm not 100% sure where I'm going to put it yet. Sometimes that's a battle around here because I make so many things. So making sure I get my edges here, and I'm gonna just put that down here to dry, and I'll probably maybe even throw another coat on that later, or when I'm putting them together, just to touch up a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to work with my canvas. Now remember, if you don't have canvas, that's a-okay. Piece of cardboard, you know where the cardboard is. Piece of cardboard will do, some foam board, anything kind of solid. So I have got my scissors, and I have cut little bits, just like little square sizes. You can go with whatever size you want. You may want them bigger, you may want them smaller. I just did basically a square, and I've got my napkins and my material and different papers. You know, you may want to lay them out first to see where you want them. I've done quite a few, so I think I'm okay with figuring it out as I go. I'm just going to spread these out so I can see them. So I'm just using an old brush for my Modge Podge. When you are finished with it, if you think you might use it again, like I've been using mine for a few days, just throw it in a plastic bag. It doesn't get hard, and you can reuse it. So I'm going to take some Modge Podge, and if you're not sure what it looks like, it's like this. They have smaller ones at the dollar store. They have huge ones at a Walmart. Right now, not shopping, so if you have white glue around the house, just add some water to it. So I'm actually going to Modge Podge the whole inside. Now you may want to just do a little bit at a time. It's entirely up to you, however you feel comfortable. It does dry fairly quickly, but it's not something you need to do neatly. So I'm just slapping her on here. Okay. Now, I'm going to take a piece of paper. Now, some of my paper I lucked out and it was two-sided, so I have pattern on both, so I probably have another one of those to use the other side later. So I'm just going to put that down. Now I'm going over my edge here. If you can see that just going over that so that my frame doesn't have white edges. And I'm just going over top with a little bit more Modge Podge. Then I'm going to pick another piece of paper and do that. Now this is where it gets fun. If you want some more, it's hard to do with thicker paper, but some of the thinner paper you can even crumple up a little bit to give it some texture. But this piece of material here, I'm going to put on, but I'm also going to bunch it up a little bit. And then with my Modge Podge, just going to get her on there. So you can see that now I have a bit of texture here, some sticking out. My first one that I did all flat and I didn't like it. So I went back over and I just added a few pieces of material and napkin to give it that look. So we're gonna go with this. And you're just making sure that you overlap. These are all overlapped. So that you don't have any white spaces. Now I'm not lining mine up in any manner. I'm actually, that one slipped a bit. Just making sure I don't have white spaces. Overlapping. Just gonna keep going with it. I have some really cute little papers here. I like to, when I'm doing my scrapbooking and anything with the papers, I like to save all my significantly sized pieces and put them in a file by color. So I have several files on that color. So if I'm looking for, say I'm going to make a card for someone and I just need a little bit of paper and I don't want to wreck a whole piece, I can go to my file and say, oh, there's blue, and pull out little pieces. So, and for activities like this, it's fantastic. Not wasting at all. So I keep going here, adding more, putting a little bit of Mod. Now don't get too crazy with the Modge Podge. It will take a long time to dry. Now I'm going to use my napkin. I love this pattern on this napkin here. And I'm going to bunch it up too. You can see, bunched it all up there. And then I'm just going to, but you can see with the napkin how it goes quite, the white part goes quite clear. So it's a lot thinner than the paper, so you do see what's underneath there. And so you're going to keep going with that until that's all done. And then you are going to let it dry. So I'm just going to put that aside right now, let dry. Just to save some time, I've already got one done. So they're all overlapped. And then what I did was I had a cute little sticker sheet here. And I took this little Such a Good Day sticker, this one, and then I just put a little bit of Modge Podge over top just to help seal it so it doesn't pop off. But any stickers you have, any little cool, maybe you have some cool yarn you want to tie knots, some buttons. Like I said, I've donated all my buttons for COVID relief masks. So yeah, so there we go with my canvas. Now, I'm going to bring my frame back out, and I'm going to lay it on top so you can see what it's going to look like. But the canvas does come out past. So now I'm going to use my pencil again, and I'm going to go around the outside of my frame. Okay, the outside of my frame, so that I can cut it so that there's not as much hanging over, and we will do some trimming as well later. So I'm just going to cut kind of in between the lines because I don't want it right to the edge. Although if you do put it closer to the edge, if you're using the chicken wire, it helps cover that up because that could be quite sharp. So, oops. So our little canvas bits over there. So now we have that cut. Now, like I said, I wanted to use the chicken wire. You can just go ahead and put that right on there if you don't want to. Maybe you want to put your name on there just with the cool background. All sorts of ideas. This would also be really cute with a couple other ones even, to put in your kitchen for this week's menu, to clip a grocery list on there. Just so many ideas. If you use this for a grocery list though, you can use the metal clip and hot glue that on there like that and put your shopping list on there. And then if you have some magnets laying around or magnets that you don't use anymore, pop them on the back and then this can go right on your fridge. So many ideas for this. So now I'm going to work with the chicken wire. And I do advise you with the chicken wire to be careful because it is sharp. So I'm going to flip my frame upside down and I'm going to choose one side. And for me, the easiest is this mini staple gun. It's not as hard to use for my hands as a big one. So it's perfect for me. And you're just going to stretch make sure that it's good everywhere. And just plug a few staples in like that. Not too worried about getting every one. I'm just kind of going every few because we're going to staple the canvas on as well. You may want to run a piece of tape over it just so it's not as sharp afterwards. Entirely up to you. If you don't have a staple gun, you can try, depending on your frame, a regular stapler. That's that side there. If not, you can also use thumbtacks. Thumbtacks will help, or definitely hold down your canvas. So I'm going to use my snips because I have some extra wire hanging up like this. Okay. Those are okay. Sometimes after the canvas, I'll go back and snip some more. I know that it's hard to find projects right now with COVID going on and being isolated. It is nice to just do a project for fun, not to have to work around the house all the time. So it's all about your mental health as well. So take care of yourselves for sure. Okay, so now I've got my chicken wire on. Ta-da! Super cute. And now I know I've got less chicken wire in the garage. Now I'm going to add my canvas, lay that back down, put my canvas on, and I want to just check to make sure all my edges are covered. I did a really good job with this one. Some of them I've had to shift around a little bit. So I'm going to go with that. And okay, so then we'll continue to staple that all on. Now, like I said, I'm going to be doing 6 of these. I have 4 put together already, and then here's 5 and 6. So my 4 that I have already look like this. So then I will be adding another 2 to make a bit of a window pane look. And you could do lots of things with that as well. Like I said, you could even do it for like this week's menu or this week's activities, whatever you like. You can take a small pot of flowers or a mason jar, paint that up, hook it on there. You got a cute little wall hanging, even for outside, but give it a spray sealer first if you're going to do that. I was even thinking initially to put a little wreath on it once I have the 6 up. This is just 2 sprigs of eucalyptus that I found at Walmart. I just twisted them together. I didn't even cut them at all. Just twisted them with a little bit of wire and a bow, and we can do that. So to put these together, I don't want to keep you too long, but if you are going to put them together, what I did was I ran some wood glue, some Gorilla wood glue along the edge. Then I put some hot glue on. The hot glue is going to adhere it immediately, where the wood glue is going to take a lot longer to dry, and but give it more of a long term. We all know that glue gun is great, but sometimes those things wear off and come apart. So I like to use a mixture of the two. Then on the back, I wanted to secure them together a little bit better because I am going to be hanging mine. So I took some popsicle sticks that I had. These are a bit bigger than the regular popsicle stick. You can also use the great big tongue depressors, which are my favorite, but I only have 2 left, so I'm saving those. They're like gold. Also, if you have down in your basement, maybe with your paints, is the stir sticks. Now those are like gold around here too, so I don't have very many of those, but those would be great to adhere, because you could go straight down with the stir stick. So with these, I just cut some in half, and I used the hot glue just to give it a little extra support throughout. So that, my friends, is today's craft. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you get to use up all your little bits of things and create something fun that is also has a great use, whether you're holding photos or your jewelry, some flowers, a wreath, menu, notes, great for your dorm door, you're inside your bedroom. So much fun. So send me some pictures of what you create, because I would love to see it. Thanks for coming out.